A hero will rise. Welcome to I Hope You Suffer. Terrible tagline. This is the 5th episode of me, for some reason, watching all of Rob Zombie's movies. And this time around, I'm joined by Lori Alex from Queer Horror Cult.
Hello, yes, I am here to talk about this film.
Yeah, we're going to talk about a movie I was originally interested in getting to, because I was like, well, it will at least be different than the other Rob Zombie movies. But oh man, not great. We're gonna talk about The Haunted World of El Superbeasto, which is an animated movie that is bad and nobody should watch.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Well, it was interesting because like the first 4 movies, I was like, you know what, like these aren't as bad as I remember. Maybe I've been wrong about Rob Zombie. Now I'm like in that back end where I'm like, fuck.
Which ones have you done?
House of a Thousand Corpses, Devil's Rejects, and both of his Halloweens.
Okay.
And like, House of a Thousand Corpses, I was like, this movie's a mess, but like, this isn't like terrible. It's not like great,
Right.
but it's like, it's one of those ones. Like my take was like, this feels like a movie that somebody that has had like 40 years of like, I want to make a movie in their brain, and just was like, this is my one opportunity. I should throw everything I've ever wanted to do into this movie.
Right, yeah.
And then, like, Devil's Rejects is probably, like, I haven't seen Lords of Salem and I haven't seen Three from Hell, but I've seen all of the rest of his movies before.
Okay.
And so, like, Lords of Salem's the one everyone's always like, if you don't really like him, you'll probably like Lords of Salem. So I'm interested to get to that. I'm recording an episode on that, like, later this
Nice.
week.
I have seen that one, and my takeaway from it was it would have been better if someone else did the dialogue.
Yes, this, we'll get into the dialogue, especially when we talk about this movie, but like that's one of the things where I'm like, man, like my big takeaway has always been he needs somebody to edit him in every aspect of his like
Yeah,
filmmaking, because it just feels like a thing where no one's there telling him no.
right.
But like, Devil's Rejects, I was like, this is probably his most like, what I assume he wanted to make, his most like creatively like put together film, where like I think he had his vision and he like was able to like complete it fully to what his vision was. And like that movie I think still holds up, although it is like relentlessly fucking bleak.
Yeah.
Like nothing fun happens in that movie ever.
I need to watch that one again because I've only seen it once. It was in theaters, and my memory of it, my main memory was taking the bus to the movie, and my friend, who I didn't know was day drinking before we met, threw up all over the bus, said, "We're still going to the movie." Got to the movie theater, left about 10 minutes in to go throw up more, and then after about 10 more minutes, I went to go find my friend, make sure they were alive, and. They were like, "Oh, I'm fine now." Came back to the movie, and then that was kind of repeat for the rest of the movie. So that's my
you
experience.
saw like 10-minute segments of the Devil's
Yeah,
Rejects. I think you would probably like it, although like it's a thing where like again his dialogue is terrible.
yeah,
But like it's like one of the things like so my friend Jeremy did his Halloween with me. And the thing
okay,
we were talking about is how crazy it is that, like, of all of the movies to give him to remake, like, how was it not Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
yeah,
Or,
yeah,
like, The Hills Have Eyes, or something like that. It's weird that Halloween was the one that he somehow got attached to, because, like, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies, after, like, the 2003 remake, are all garbage. So, like, what's the harm in letting, like, him take a swing at one?
yeah,
And I feel like if he was going to like remake something that was like just solely in his wheelhouse, it feels like it would be something like that. But My thing was like, give him Eaten Alive. Let him do Toby Hooper's Eaten Alive.
Oh shit! Now, yeah, okay, I could see that. I could see that remake.
Yeah, but like I like his Halloweens, although they're both too long. But I think his Halloween 2, I've always been a defender of his Halloween 2 because I'm like, it's weird, and he took a swing and stuck with it, and like I kind of appreciate that he was just like, if I'm going to make another one of these, and like the Weinsteins are gonna be the fucking worst and like just make my life miserable, I'm gonna make the weirdest movie possible. And then
Yeah.
his like director's cut version ending where he just kills off everybody is way
Yeah, I
better.
appreciate that so much. Like, I'd rather someone make a huge swing and dramatically fuck up in every conceivable way than just do something boring.
Yeah, like so far, like that's probably my favorite thing he's made is that fucking Werewolf Women of the SS trailer he did for Grindhouse, and I'm so mad that that's like the one movie of those trailers that has not been made.
Yeah.
But like I think his Halloween 2 is like really interesting, and like I will take that over, like I'll take his Halloween remakes over almost anything past Season of the Witch.
Right.
And like so like watching those first four, I was like, man, I think I owe Rob Zombie an apology. And then I
Yeah.
got to this. Like 31 is the one that I've been the most dreading, because 31, like I watched it on Shudder whenever it came out, and I was like, this is unbearable.
Oh
And
no.
I had rented El Superbeasto when it came out in like 2009 or whatever it was, and just like I didn't remember a lot of it except that it looked very like it looks like the same animation as like Ren and Stimpy, and that was like my
Yeah.
main memory. Oh my god, the dialogue in this fucking movie is horrendous.
Yeah, this was actually my second time watching it. I watched it when it came out, like you, and then I kind of forgot it existed until you said, "Hey, want to cover this movie?"
Yeah, I feel like no one ever talks about this movie in his catalog, and I can see why.
Yeah.
So I guess before we get into that, like, I guess outside of that Devil's Reject story, like, what's your history with Rob Zombie in general?
I remember House of a Thousand Corpses came out. What year was that? That was like
It
early
was
2000s, right?
2003, I believe, because it was supposed to come out in like 2001, and then I had like a 2 year delay of like Lions.
Right.
I think Universal had the rights to it, and they were just like, we don't want to release this, and eventually Lionsgate got it.
Right. Okay. Because I remember I wasn't 18 yet, and that pissed me off because here in Canada, it got the R rating, which is a bit different from the American R rating in that no minors. Like it's like the equivalent of NC-17.
Sure.
So like no minors, and so I wasn't 18 yet, so I couldn't go see this fucking movie, and it really pissed me off. So I still watched it by means, and I think I had an interesting experience with it because I was like not right off the bat, the dialogue was kind of throwing me out of the movie because I was just not used to his whole shtick. But it was also sort of at the start of horror movies becoming gruesome again and
Mhm.
like fucked up again because you know how like at sort of late 80s into the 90s they became very tame, like the major ones
Yeah.
did at least.
It became very much like it was all like Valentine and I Know What You Did Last Summer
Yeah.
and all that shit.
And so this was something quite different and refreshing for being so extreme. And so I remember just having a really mixed reaction to the movie. Like it wasn't quite like anything I'd seen in a modern movie, but then people would talk and I'd be like, God damn it.
I had the jump scare of being like, "Oh God, Chris Hardwick is in this. I forgot about this." my
Luckily, I did not know who that was at the time, so.
my my whole thing was like I went and saw House of a Thousand Corpses when it first came out because I was like a huge White Zombie fan in the
Oh,
'90s,
okay.
and so I was like, "Oh man, if anyone's gonna make a fucking amazing horror movie, it's got to be this dude who only sings about horror movies."
Yeah.
And I remember going to see it, and I fucking loved it in the theater. But the
Nice.
thing like I've been talking about here is like at that point I was very much like, you don't understand. I like underground horror movies like Dawn of the Dead and Evil Dead. You probably have never heard of them. Like I was that dude.
Got it.
And so like this was one of those things where I was like, whoa, this is like really gruesome and it's weird. And like, like there were aspects to it I was like, I don't like the whole ending when they're like doing the Alice in Wonderland fucking underground bullshit. I was
Yeah.
like, I don't really know what this ties together, but like, whatever. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
And then I think by the time it came to DVD and I'd rewatched it, I was like, oh, this movie's kind of a mess.
Yeah.
But like, I was still like relatively in. So like, when Devil's Rejects came out, like that was like day one. I was in the theater to see it, and I remember seeing it and just being like, this is like an entirely different beast because
Right.
there's no like weird goofiness. There's like none of the bright colors of like House of a Thousand Corpses. It's just like bleak, horrible shit happening all the time.
Yeah, it felt like a very mean movie from when
Yeah,
I was watching it. Yeah.
it's like relentless in how hard he like. It's a movie that I'm shocked got like a major studio release in that time period.
Right.
But like it's because like the violence is a lot, but it's not like super gory. Like it's not anything worse than like in Saw. It's insanely like realistic, I guess,
Right.
which is what I was like shocked by. And it was a thing where it was like it's one of the only times I've been in a movie theater where it was just deathly silent in an entirely full movie theater like the whole time.
Oh
And
well.
especially once you get to like that motel scene,
Yeah.
like it was so harsh. And I think I don't remember if I saw his first Halloween in the theater, but I know I saw Halloween 2 in a theater.
Hmm.
And so like, but that was like around the time where I was kind of being like, I don't know if these movies are for me.
Yeah.
And so like this came out and I was like, you know what? Like I'm interested. It's like an animated movie. Like it's based on his comic books. I'll see what this is all about. And I remember renting it and I have no idea what my like reaction to it was because I did not remember almost anything that happened in this movie outside of like the look of it.
Yeah.
And so it's one I was like interested to get to because one of the things I've been talking about on these is how like I desperately have wanted to see him do something outside of his wheelhouse. Like
Yeah.
there were points where he was attached to do like a Groucho Marx biopic and like a like biopic on like this like extremely like ruthless and violent hockey team or like whatever. And I'm like, you know what? Those would have been like really interesting to see because like I don't know, him doing like a biopic on Groucho Marx would be really weird, and I don't know how his fucking dialogue would work in that kind of a movie and shit like that. But like, I want to see that. I want to see him do something that's not just this like general, like quote unquote like white trash like whatever bullshit aesthetic he has going on.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
And
that was Halloween for me. Like that was another like one that I remember kind of giving me a bit of a distaste for his stuff because it was the dialogue
yeah,
the entire time. But then it also did what in my opinion, is what made so many of the Halloween sequels suck shit, is it tried to explain things too much. Like, I don't need the
yeah,
backstory of Michael Myers because it's scarier when I don't know why this guy's a freak.
that was the thing is like what Jeremy and I were talking about where I was like I'm like half and half on it where I'm like because I guess his original pitch was it was going to be two movies where like the first movie was going to end with like kid Michael Myers killing the family or whatever,
Okay.
and then the second movie would have started with like adult Michael Myers.
Okay. Okay.
And so like I'm glad that didn't happen because I don't need to watch an entire movie of this kid just like being yelled at by his like shitty stepdad
Yeah.
or whatever. But like I also like I don't know like part of that I'm like oh you know what like fine I don't think it needed to be 50 minutes of the movie,
Right.
but like I'm not like opposed to it and I'll take sort of just that like this is just a fucked up kid over like the weird cult shit that
Oh,
happens in like
yeah. Yeah.
the main storyline. But I was also like yeah I don't know I don't need this like like it's obviously the John Carpenter one like 100 times way better and
Oh,
like
yeah.
more interesting and more scary. But like the thing I think he did really well this Halloween's is like he made Michael Myers like vicious. Where like especially you get into like Halloween 2 like there's scenes where he's killed somebody and he stabs them like 5 more times just like because
Yeah.
and shit. So like I think he made Michael Myers like genuinely like scary again where like all the other like sequels in that main timeline are just become like generic slasher movies.
Yeah, I could definitely agree with
Yeah.
that because there's a viciousness to it that made it feel like, oh, this is a murderer. Like this
Yeah.
is a creepy, creepy murderer. This isn't just Uh-oh, mask guy's here again. I better run away and then get a thumb through my brain.
Yeah, so like I at least appreciate them on like some level.
Yeah, fair
At
enough.
least compared to like almost all of the stuff post Season of the Witch. Like
Yeah, it's
I would probably
grim
put
times.
that like 2018 the first like Blumhouse remake maybe above his, but like almost everything else I'm like nah, then get rid of it.
Now that was a fun turn too, because I liked the first of the Blumhouse remakes, and then the second one was so bad.
Well, that was the thing. I was like, it's weird how much everyone thinks is like Halloween Kills. He's so like ruthless in it. And I'm like, have you watched the Rob Zombie ones in a while?
Yeah,
Because like there's shit in it where like he's killing people that were nice to him because he's just a fucking monster. Like Danny Trejo's entire character in that first Halloween remake is like he's the guy that's been taking care of kid Michael Myers in like the asylum
yeah,
until he's an adult. And he's like protecting him from like these other like shitty fucking asylum workers or whatever, and then Michael kills him anyway and like by like drowning him.
yeah. That's true. Like I think it was refreshing to get Rob Zombie to do Halloween, as inexplicable a choice that was, just because, like what you're pointing out with, it really made the killer scary.
Yeah. And I think that's like one of the things that like I don't know. I don't want to like rehash this fucking Halloween again, but
Yeah,
like
fair
it's
enough.
just like I don't it's baffling to me how much people loved those like Blumhouse ones, and I'm just like the Rob Zombie ones he's like way meaner in.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. So Haunted World of El Superbeasto, like God man, I'm just like watching it last night and I'm just like I forgot how many fucking slurs are
Yeah.
in this movie, and I'm just like, God damn it, this sucks.
I was so close to watching it last night. I had plenty of time to, but I just looked at the DVD case and said, "No, not tonight." And I ended up watching it this morning.
It's one of those things where I'm like, I'm watching at work, so like whatever, I'm getting paid to watch it.
Fair
But it's
enough.
just like I was just like, none of it was funny. Like I don't know if there was a single thing in it that happened that I like even chuckled at outside of like maybe the dumb joke that his like phone ringtone is Mr. Roboto, because it's just like a stupid choice, but like everything else in it I was like this is just not funny. The dialogue horrendous. Like the animation is like whatever. Like it's not animated badly. It just sucks. It's so bad.
I think I think you're bang on how not funny it is, because I truly believe one of the saddest things is a comedy that isn't funny.
Yeah.
Because like any other movie that fails at what it's trying to do, like an action movie, a war movie, a drama, a horror movie that is like bad and fails, it becomes funny. So at least there's that quality that you can kind of laugh at it. Whereas when a comedy fails, it's not even funny. You're just like, oh, this is just sad.
Yeah, and like I think it's just like it just came out at a time where like South Park and Family Guy were like the biggest things in
Yeah,
like animated comedy, and like those aren't really like it's just like South Park. There's something about maybe those first like couple seasons where I'm like, okay, this is like progressive and like whatever, and it just
yeah,
becomes like terrible.
yeah,
Family Guy's just bad all around, and it's
yeah.
like again, we're just at like a point like this like mid 2000 like 2009 or whatever when this came out. It's just like a fucking bleak time for comedy in general,
Yeah.
and so like I don't know. Like I had to look up because I was like, "There's no way." Like it doesn't feel like Rob Zombie dialogue per se, but it's just like it just is bad. And I had to look up to see who wrote it. It was him and like the guy, the comedian that voices Superbeasto, and I was just like, man, this is. I can't imagine you guys pitching these jokes, and this is the best you got to.
I don't know. I've been doing a lot of open mics lately,
Yeah,
and
fair.
most of the comedians are like really nice, really funny people. But then you'll get some people like newbies and stuff like that that it's like, oh, another dude comic talking about his dick.
Yeah.
That's cool. And like, but there is a couple dude comics that talk about their dicks and they're fucking hilarious, but can't all be that.
It's just like it's wild to me how like just this like that kind of comedy has been happening for hundreds of years and it's
Yeah,
still for some reason like prevalent. And I'm like, I've heard this joke 100 times.
yeah,
Like, just do anything different. Like I don't even know where necessarily to start with this because it's like I said, like it's just like the story is. I tried to find to see because I was like, you know what, I want to see if I could like find any of his comics to actually read because I was like, I can't like knowing that Rob like it felt like a thing where like you find out like Danzig wrote comic books and you're like, oh man,
yeah,
Danzig's writing like weird fucking horror erotic comic books. I bet that's incredible. And
yeah.
then you read them and you're like, oh, this is just like like Danzig being a horny fucking 15-year-old or whatever as an adult. And so I was like, I was interested to see what like these comic books were like, but I couldn't find any of them like free to read. And I was not going to spend money on them because I
Yeah.
was like curious if they were at all in this style, like the same sort of comedy style this movie is. Because it's like this feels so antithetical to like everything I know about Rob Zombie,
Yeah.
and like I just was baffled watching it because I was just like, is this like does Rob I was well okay so I guess it's not. So one of the things I learned in Halloween 2, I listened to the audio commentary of it and like he cast fuck I can't think of his name now, like I think his name's Jeffrey Dean Phillips, something like that,
Okay.
in the movie solely because he was the lead caveman in the Geico caveman commercials and apparently Rob Zombie thinks those commercials are incredible. And it broke my brain when he said that because I was like, wait, what? Like, that is the last thing I would have expected to hear Rob Zombie say. And so maybe he's just got extremely terrible taste in comedy.
It's very possible.
And so, like, I don't know. Like, watching this, I was just like, I can't fucking, like. I was just picturing Rob Zombie sitting in, like, a screening room watching this for the first time and been like, oh my god, this is, like, the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Oh
I got
God.
Rosario Dawson to play a white girl doing the most insanely like ghetto accent imaginable, and I was like, God damn it, man, this sucks.
And they even do a joke that's not funny, referencing the fact that she's like white but trying to sound black with the whole like once you go black you don't go back
Right?
thing. And it's like, oh, but I've got to remind you, I'm not black, by the way.
Yeah, it's just like I was just so like baffled by so many choices in this, like especially that one where I'm like, well, A, she's playing what's supposed to be like a goth stripper, I guess.
Yeah.
But like that voice, I was like, what the fuck is this?
It
Like,
felt very of its time, that choice.
yeah, I assume. Like Paul Giamatti, I think is totally fine as Dr. Satan. Like he's just, like kind of just there. He's not doing a whole lot. Like
Yeah.
I've like the guy like Tom Papa, the guy that voices El Superbeasto is like fine. He's got like a pretty okay like animation voice. He's just not saying anything funny.
Yeah.
Um I mean like I don't there's like jokes in it where I'm like, I don't know, like any other movie I think this would maybe be funny. Like the shit with like the elevator guy. Like
Yeah.
I'm on board when like things do those like weird long awkward sort of like jokes.
Hmm.
And so like in almost any other scenario, like the scenes with him where it's just like he's keeps saying shit to like a completely uninterested person in the elevator. I'm like, I could like and anyone else's hands I would probably be like, this is pretty funny, but like it's just again like just Rob Zombie is not funny.
Yeah.
And so there's shit like that where I'm just like, man, like this is upsetting on every level to me. And like I am here for a cartoon that's got like a bunch of nudity in it. But it's just I don't know, like I think the animation style is a weird choice. Like
Yeah. It felt very much like having like the little cat director guy, like the cat that just is a character at the start, but then just lives in his pants for the whole movie, and you kind of forget it
Oh yeah.
exists. It very much felt like it's like, oh, you watched Fritz the cat, and you're just trying to chomp that flavor a bit,
Well,
but you're sort of missing the point.
yeah, and that's the entire thing. Is like, well, number one, that cat, or like the voice first started, I was like, oh god, I gotta look up who this is. Please tell me this is not a white actor. And I think it was Ken Foray, so I'm like, all right,
Oh, that okay, because I saw his name in the credits, and I
yeah.
was thinking, like, wait, who the fuck did he
I
play?
think he was the cat.
Okay,
and
okay.
and like, like I was not necessarily a fan of Ren and Stimpy, but like the animation style is very specific.
Hmm.
Like nothing else looks like that guy's style.
Yeah.
And so, and that's very much like it's just, this looks exactly the same as that, to the point that that'll be like very like smooth, colorful animation when you're like looking at things, but then when they'll do close-ups is that like really gross like Ren and Stimpy style where like there's just like boils on everything and like
Yeah, that like hyper
scraggly.
realism.
Yeah.
Or as far as hyper real
Yeah, right.
as this can get.
Like there's the scene where Dr. Satan has like grown huge and he's like hitting on Rob Zombie's
Yeah.
wife's character. And like every time they do close-ups of things, it's just super gross. And like I am not opposed to that animation style, but like I don't know, put funny jokes in it at least, because like it just like ruins, and like I guess again it all just comes down to like the dialogue in this, where like it
Yeah.
ruins any good aspects of this, because like I said, like the animation's totally fine. Like it's, it's gross in that Ren and Stimpy style, but like I'm on board, and there's like a bunch of nudity in it, which is like pretty uncommon for us. Like, what this was, I know this wasn't like on TV, but like it was at least like pretty widely available because it was Rob
Yeah.
Zombie. And so like in general, I should be way into this, but it's just the dialogue is so brutal. And like I don't know, like the voice acting also, like some of it's fine because it's like half actual voice actors and then just like half friends of Rob Zombie.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure like Ken Foray has probably done animation before, but I have no idea if like Bill Moseley and Sid Haig had done
Yeah.
like anything like this before. I know Sherry Moon hadn't.
Hmm.
What's your take on Sherry Moon Zombie?
Um, it's like she's fine. I'm not particular like I know that she gets a lot of flack online for her performances and all that stuff, but it's like, yeah, she's not knocking out Emmys or anything like
She's
that.
also not an actor.
Well, yeah, there you go. But I thought like I was expecting her character in this to be more obviously bad because of just some of the other things I've seen
Mhm.
out of her, and it's like, okay, like not that the character was good, it was just kind of it felt obvious. Like the choices with that character felt like, yep, of course Rob Zombie's gonna make that happen.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, like I've in these first couple the first couple movies, I was like, like I think she gets way more hate than she deserves. I think she's
I
totally
agree
fine
with
in all
that for
these.
sure. Yeah.
And this, like, I don't know, at least she's like doing a voice somewhat. Like it's not just her regular voice.
Yeah.
And so, like, I don't know, I give her a little props. Like everything she's saying sucks.
Yeah.
Like it's. If I had to hear the word pussy out of her mouth one more time, I was going to lose my mind. I think,
And
like, oh, good.
sorry, I was just gonna say it was also a choice to like make her character El Superbeasto's sister, and then have him just be repeatedly horny at her, and then just like they address it as like, oh, incest is creepy, but then he just still is horny at her, and it's like,
I don't know if the takeaway from Rob Zombie is that it's creepy. I feel like incest shit seems to be coming up a lot in his movies as I'm watching them so close together.
Oh, okay.
I
So,
don't know
yeah.
if it's just, again, it's just like his weird, like, what he believes like Southern people sort of thing.
Yeah, it could also just be like edgelord shit.
Yeah, see, I lean more towards that, because like there's an entire, like, the beginning of his like Halloween remake is William Forsythe's character is just like relentlessly talking about like his stepdaughter's like teenage body and shit, and I'm like, man,
Yeah.
come on. Yeah, like I think she like, you know, I know we're like I said, I haven't seen Lords of Salem, and I know she's like the main star of that. So
Yeah.
like I'm interested to see how she is in that. But in like House of a Thousand Corpses, I think she like suits the, you know, her role like
Yes.
fine. She's pretty good in Devil's Rejects, and I think she's actually like pretty good and relatable as the mom in like that the young Michael Myers story in
Yeah.
Halloween. And in Halloween 2, she's just walking around with like a fucking white horse the whole movie.
Yeah. Like I said, I do find it surprising how much hate she gets on the internet for just existing.
Yeah.
Like it's a bit odd.
We stand a wife guy, so like, you know, and like
Yeah.
that was one of the things I learned listening to some of the audio commentaries. She was like, I don't want to be in these movies. She was like, I never wanted to be an actor, but it was one of those things where he was just like, he writes roles for me, so I'm like, all right. Because I think the only thing she's done outside of his movies is she's in Tobe Hooper's Toolbox Murders remake.
Okay.
And like, I guess he reached out to her, and she was like, I don't want to do this. And Rob Zombie's like, no, you should do this. Like, it's Tobe Hooper. Like, you know, like I think it would be fun or whatever. So she did it.
Right.
And so like, it's like, I it's got to be shitty for her to even like look at any reactions to any of these movies where they're just like, oh,
Yeah.
fucking Rob Zombie putting his hot wife and everything again.
Well, knowing that she doesn't even want to be an actor and isn't an actor, because my frame of reference for her is Rob Zombie's films.
Right.
So knowing that she doesn't even, that's like not even her thing and stuff, then I say props to her for pulling off what she does. Like, you know, it's like you said, when she plays the mom in Halloween, it's like it's not a bad job.
No, yeah,
And
she's totally fine in that.
I thought I've only seen it once and it's been a while, but I remember thinking like, she's fine when I was watching Lords of Salem.
Yeah, I'm watching that tonight, and so I'm
Okay.
very intrigued to see how that goes down, because it's literally the movie everyone's just like, it is the one that does not feel like a Rob Zombie movie out of all of his movies. So,
Yeah.
but I also assume somebody's going to say the word cocksucker in it at some point.
Oh, the dial, like I remember when it was over, I was just like, get someone, like when he's done his script, it should be taken away from him, and then someone rewrites the dialogue and then gives it back and says you are not to change a word.
I literally think there's two people that can pull his dialogue off where it's stupid, but it works, and it's Bill Moseley and Sid Haig.
Yeah.
Like, both of them deliver his dumbass dialogue really well, and almost everything else I'm like, oh man, this sucks.
Yeah.
I don't like, yeah, like I said, this is one where I'm like, I don't have anything to say other than like, this is bad.
I I think part of it, like thinking about, we were talking about the comedy a bit earlier, is it was so frustrating seeing all these bits set up. Like, it's like, I know what you're going for here, and I know the reaction you're trying to get out of me, and it's not happening.
Right.
I just feel dead watching this.
It feels like a movie where, like, if this was, like, being made by, like, a quote-unquote, like, real... I don't want to say, like, a real team, but, like, there would be, like, a writer's room of, like, five comedians. And this legitimately just feels like Rob Zombie made a script, and then, like, his comedian friend punched it up a little bit.
Yeah.
And, like... I don't know. It's just like one of the things Rob Zombie has directed that I refuse to watch is he directed a comedy special for like the comedian that does El Superbeasto.
Oh, okay.
And like in general, especially after watching this, I can't imagine it's funny.
Yeah.
Although maybe I don't know. I feel like I should watch it just to be like just to even see, because like. This is gonna be a comedy special. It's not like he's really doing anything other than like camera movement.
Yeah.
So like, it's not like it's gonna be. Imagine the entire thing just like has the fucking weird, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre aesthetic to this fucking like comedy special.
Yeah, just the sidekick character comes up and calls someone a cocksucker and then says some slurs against queer people.
Yeah, just stabs him in the leg and walks off. Yeah, man, like the hard fucking T slur in this. I was like, God damn it.
Oh, I must have blacked out. I didn't even notice that. I must have missed
It's
that.
in like the middle of some fucking like relentless barrage of unfunny jokes, and I was like
Yeah, okay.
woof. I was like, it's one of those things where like I feel like you could be like almost any slur that was not racial was like in this movie, and that's the
Yeah,
thing is like I've noticed like real bad like he likes to throw like the R slur in everything,
yeah,
and I'm sure that's more a oh I just grew up where this just means stupid or whatever,
yeah.
and like I'm just like man just like please just get anyone. Like even at this point, I would take him making a movie he didn't write. Like you
I
said, like
think that would be interesting.
someone gives him a script and is just like, you have to shoot this word for word.
Yeah,
Like, and cause like well, for the most part, like I'm rooting for him. I feel like he has a solid like horror masterpiece in him somewhere that he could make.
yeah,
That's just like like his Halloween movies were fucked with relentlessly by the Weinsteins
yeah.
because of course they were. Like he talks about on Halloween 2, he was like, I didn't want to make it, but like I was like, well, they fucked with me a lot on Halloween and it came out and it was a success. So they're going to let me do whatever I want in this. And he's like, no, they would like bring me into like a screen, like a little mini theater on like the lot and show me scenes from the first Halloween. He'd be like, why are you showing me this? I made that movie. I know what's in it and shit. So like,
That's wild.
yeah. And so like, and like House of a Thousand Corpses was like one, like again, where like he filmed a bunch of shit and then it was basically just put on hold for like 2 years.
Yeah,
And then he filmed more shit in those 2 years at home and just kind of like edits it into the movie. And it just becomes this weird like mishmash where he had just had like that thing where like somebody's made their art but like can't stop tinkering with it because it's not
yeah,
perfect or whatever. It just kind of fucks it all up.
yeah.
And so like I don't know, like I feel like if he worked with somebody, especially like a writer, that like he could probably make something like really really cool. And it's just
Yeah.
and it's also like one of the things I feel like that's really has impacted like him as a filmmaker is he unfortunately started in the 2000s when horror just has been like had such a fucking weird like especially like mainstream horror like just a weird run where like he makes his first movie and then it's just immediately into just like hey all we're doing is horror remakes for like a
Yeah.
decade and then like now he's in this point where it's really weird looking back at some of like his Halloween 2 is like almost explicitly about like trauma and PTSD.
Yeah.
And now like it's very interesting that came out in like 2008 or 2009 or whatever. And now that's what like every mainstream horror movie's about.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's some fucking metaphor for trauma. And now but like now it feels like he's because like Blumhouse and A24 are like the big things and
Hmm.
like that's just not the movies he makes. He seems like he's just been relegated to what is essentially like the modern version of like direct to video director.
Right.
Cause like I 31 I think maybe had like 31 and 3 from Hell I think maybe had those like sort of like Fandango like one night premiere screenings and that was
Okay.
immediately on the like streaming
Yeah.
and like his Monsters remake thing was just straight to Netflix. And I don't even know if he's like working on anything new now.
Yeah,
That's
that's pretty rough, like to sort of be like in that position of, he's obviously a huge horror fan and gets his dream to make horror movies, and then it's just like the time's not right for
yeah.
what you're doing.
Yeah, cuz and like I said, like I feel like if he got pitched something like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like I don't necessarily know if it would be good, but like I think he could tell a better Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie than at least anything that's happened since 2003. It would definitely be better than that one that went straight to Netflix like a couple years ago.
Oh God, yeah, I didn't even bother with it, especially because it was trying to jump on like Halloween
Yeah,
being like a
yeah.
legacy sequel or
They're yeah
whatever they
doing that like
fucking branded it
the
as.
requel
Yeah,
bullshit.
and it's like, God, don't make this a trend. But of course they made it a trend.
Yeah. Now it's like all of them.
Yeah.
I still think what they should do is someone should let him just make a fucking weird uh Universal Monsters movie. Like give him Creature
Ooh,
from the
yeah.
Black Lagoon or something, or like The Mummy, and let him just
Yeah.
make a really fucking weird mummy movie. Cuz like I don't know, he clearly loves the Universal Monsters.
Yeah.
And like I feel like if he like I don't know. I also don't like just also we could stop making those movies, I guess.
Yeah, we could also not remake
Yeah.
things, and that's fine too.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna, at least give it to someone who seems to like what the fuck was this is so off topic, but the whole like reboot they did of The Mummy where they're like, we're just gonna redo them all, and it was just like, you guys are gonna redo them all?
That like I feel like Katie and I have talked about this weird Universal Monsters universe thing they've been trying to do since that Tom Cruise one.
Yeah.
Where like I don't know, for some reason it was originally going to be sort of in like kind of like a universe like the Brendan Fraser ones,
Okay.
where like they were going to be more actiony or whatever, and then now like Blumhouse or whoever is trying to do them with that Invisible Man movie, and now like the Wolfman one that just came
Right, they
out.
did a Wolfman, yeah.
That like I saw the trailer for it, and I was like, wow, this looks terrible. And based on everyone's reaction, it seems like it's pretty mediocre. And I'm just like, why are you still trying to do this? Like you
Yeah.
can tell a werewolf movie without it needing to be the Wolfman, or like
Yeah.
like like I guess like I never saw Invisible Man, but like it seems like that movie was relatively good from what I
Right.
understand. But like I don't know, I am very much over the here's a monster that's a metaphor for some sort of trauma
Yeah.
like trope of every major movie that comes out now.
Yeah.
And like some of them are done pretty well, but so many of them like that they/them movie.
Oh, I didn't even watch
Oh my
that
god,
one.
it's fucking it's the most like pandering and like badly written metaphor stuff. I don't know, it's fucking dog shit. And I just want like that shit to stop. And if that means I don't know, we gotta just do like, hey, here's Evil Dead 9 or fucking
Yeah.
whatever for a little bit, like I'll take it, I guess.
Yeah. If your movie's gonna be a metaphor, do a metaphor we haven't seen a billion times. Or just don't it doesn't have to be a metaphor. You can make a deep movie without being metaphorical about it.
Yeah, you could literally just I don't
Be
know.
like, this is literally about this issue, and we're just going to do a horror movie. Like, Chud isn't a metaphor for the war on the homeless. Chud is a movie about the war on the homeless.
Well, that's been like a big thing. Like I don't know how much you pay attention to sort of like online bullshit and horror where like the director of the Terrifier movies was like, my movies are completely
Oh,
apolitical and shit.
yeah, yeah, I heard about
And it's
that.
like, no, they're not. You just don't like making a movie that is about a clown horrifically murdering women, whether you believe it or not, is a political statement.
Yeah,
And so like I don't know, like I like regardless of what you're making, there's some sort of like aspect in it that's like, you know, making a statement one way or another. So like
yeah,
I don't know, like you just like make a werewolf movie that isn't fucking oh this is like a metaphor for like spousal abuse, I guess, or fucking whatever this new Wolfman
right.
movie's about. I don't know.
I feel like if you're gonna do metaphor horror movies, let like queer people make them,
Right.
because like I saw the TV Glow was a banger.
Yeah. That's all I want to talk about still. I like I think about that movie fucking constantly since I
Yeah.
watched it. It's so good, and I'm so more than anything, I'm so mad that like it didn't even get like even like just like a best original song like
Yeah.
like thing for like the Oscars, something even minimal like that instead of that fucking Amelia Perez movie that clearly everyone seems to hate, but it's got like the second most Oscar nominations.
That is one of those movies where it's got so much buzz about it, yet I could not, for the life of me, find anyone who's actually likes it.
It's like sitting at like a 2% on fucking Letterboxd right now, or like a 2
Oh,
2.0 or some shit. Like
that's rough.
no one likes it. It's probably going to sweep. But
Yeah.
meanwhile, Starburned and Unkissed should have gotten best fucking
Oh God, yeah.
like. Oh, the movie's so good. Uh, Rob Zombie remake. I Saw the TV Glow.
Oh God, the amount of slurs.
I can. I'm like Rob Zombie. You could do all the dialogue, but it has to be shot for shot remake. And just imagine how fucking garbage. All
Oh
fucking
God.
you got Bill Moseley playing the fucking ice cream monster, the ice cream man monster shit.
Oh, cursed film.
Yeah, Sherry Moon is fucking Mr. Melancholy for some reason. I don't know. Do you have anything remotely else to
Um,
say about this fucking movie?
it was interesting, I guess, to see him go back to the well with the werewolf women of the SS thing,
Oh
but
yeah,
that seemed like such a tacked on plot. Like it was an intro to Cherry Moon's character, and it was like, okay, I get why you're showing like her doing this cool mission thing stuff, but then it kept coming back over and over again. It's like, oh, this is just this movie's 77 minutes long, yet it feels like you're padding out the runtime.
it's crazy to me that this movie like what's really frustrating is like he did the animation for that hallucination scene in Beavis and Butthead Do America,
Oh, really?
and that shit is incredible. And it's
I had
like,
no idea.
yeah, like he's the one. I don't, I obviously he didn't like hand draw it, but he's like he directed all of
Yeah.
that. And it's like, man, why couldn't this movie be like that? And it's like he got his start doing like set production on like Pee Wee's Playhouse
Right.
and shit. Like he's clearly like a good artist, and it sucks
Hmm.
that like this is what the animated thing is that he made. Because
Yeah.
like this could have been a really weird, like fucked up, almost like heavy metal style like thing. And it's like it's again, it's just like I really want to look at the comics because I can't imagine like I don't know why, but in my mind there's no way he was writing like a comedy comic. But I
Right.
guess maybe it is. I don't know. Like in my mind it was always just going to be like some weird horror-ish thing, and like I don't know. Like I don't know how this is the final product, especially because it took him like 4 years to finish this. And I'm just
Oh.
like, how is this the best you did after 4 years of work?
Like, I know animation takes a long time, but that doesn't explain the script.
Yeah,
Not at all.
like again, like we've said, like that's the problem in this movie is the script is terrible.
Yeah.
Like, uh, I guess like Brian Posehn is maybe the only remotely like chuckle worthy aspect of it as the robot.
Okay, I was also wondering who he played.
Yeah, he played the robot, and like
Yeah.
I don't think any of the jokes are funny, but like his voice is very specific, and I don't
Hmm.
know why, but that his like weird nerdy voice coming out of that robot, I was like, all right, I can get on board with this.
Yeah.
And like you said, like the weird like SS shit and like like the like fucking zombie. I don't know who that was supposed to be. Trying to save Hitler's head is like. I would have rather have watched that as an animated thing than almost anything following Superbeasto.
Yeah, yeah. Like that felt a little like you mentioned heavy metal. That felt a little more in that vein.
Yeah, that would have been like a pretty interesting like animated movie to watch instead of just like this horny luchador wrestler make sex jokes for the other 60 minutes of the movie.
Yeah. Like everything that happened felt unoriginal too. Like it was just like, yep, seen that before, yep, seen that before, just over and over again. And then the movie started repeating itself over and over. That you're just thinking like, oh, I want to die.
I guess one of the things that I do think is good in it to, like, I guess not just shit on the entire thing
Right.
is
Okay.
like
Let's be positive.
the violence in it I think is well done. Like
Yeah, this was
like the
that surprised me.
yeah, like they again it kind of leans back on the Ren and Stimpy thing where like
Yeah.
there's like a scene where Superbeasto is beating up Dr. Satan at the end and he's holding him up and through from like a wedgie and punching him like a boxing like a one of those like fucking uh
Those speed bag
yeah
things.
speed bag. I was like boxing bag doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
And he's punching like a speed bag, and it's very cartoony. And then it cuts to like a close up of his face, and it's so gross and fucked up looking. And there's like broken teeth everywhere, and that
Yeah.
Ren and Stimpy style. That I was like, I could get on board with this. I wish there was more of this in the movie.
Yeah.
I like, I do kind of like the joke of like he's at whatever bar, and the werewolf comes up that he beats up. And it's like, oh, he's fine as long as like you don't hit him with any silver. He's fine. And it cuts to like him wearing like silver brass knuckles where he accidentally killed the
right.
werewolf.
Yeah.
And I don't know. That's probably it. Like the animation is completely fine. It's just everything else sucks. It's bad. Nobody watch this.
I can't recommend
I
it.
think there's a reason that like everyone forgets this is a movie he made.
Yeah.
Because, like, I don't know, like, when I was like, oh, I'm gonna watch all these Rob Zombie movies, and I saw this on there, I was like, fuck, I forgot this thing existed. And I think most people have.
I had to, like, when you mentioned it to me, it felt like someone walking over my grave or something, just this chill. I'm like, oh, God.
Oh, no, the 2000s again. Because, like, this is another one where, like, I feel like if this was made either in the late 90s or now, it would be a drastically different movie.
100%.
Where I guess
100%.
in the late 90s, probably maybe more slurs in it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But, like, I feel like it would maybe have more, like, Simpsons-ish jokes
Yeah.
than this, or it just would have, like, gone the other way, just been way worse. But, like, I feel like if this was made now, it would be a way more interesting movie.
Yeah.
But it sucks. Don't watch it.
Yeah. I gotta say, this was I felt lucky coming onto your podcast, which is ostensibly you watch a lot of movies that aren't great movies, and I felt like I got lucky because I'm like, you had me on to talk about a ton and stuff like that. It's like, oh, these are great. I'm so into these movies, and it's like, you finally got me.
Yeah.
I want to go back to Porno Holocaust now.
It comes around there. Comes around for everybody.
Yeah.
Like, I think when I messaged you, you were just like, the only ones I think I have access to were like this and Devil's Rejects.
Yeah.
And I was like, no one's gonna pick this animated movie, so like perfect. Because I had my friend Dylan's doing an episode, and he unfortunately ended up with 31. And I forget like why. It was one of those things where he was like I don't, he's like, I think I've seen all the other ones, but I've never seen 31. I was like, oh man, this is gonna be fun because this movie is unwatchable.
Okay, I have not seen it, but I'm not exactly chomping at the bit to go ahead and see it. It is
the worst aspect of all of his movies smashed into a 2-hour movie.
Whew.
Where it's literally okay, so this is my memory of it, at least, because I've only watched it the one time, and then I tried to immediately erase it from my brain. It's another one where Sherry Moon is the main star in it. Like, she's the person you follow. And she's, it's, I believe, the 70s, because of course it is.
Right.
And it's, like, a group of, like, rich people kidnap, like, this van, Texas Chainsaw Massacre style van full of people on Halloween night, because every Halloween they gotta have this, like, game where they just, like, send people through this fucking warehouse full of fucked up things. And so, like, every room they come, like, there's, like, a short person in Nazi outfit and a Hitler mustache in it. Like, Michael McDowell is in it for, like, 2 minutes as, like, one of these, like, aristocrat people that fucking kidnap everybody, but they're all wearing like British MP style wigs and shit. They're dressed up like it's the 1400s. And then
Ooh.
every room they go into is like, here's the room with clowns with chainsaws. And shit, like, it's just that shit. And I'm like, God. And then
Oh God.
you get, like, the only good thing I remember being in that movie is there is a, like, 3 to 4 minute opening monologue that is, like, Richard Brake as his character speaking, like, face first directly into the camera that I remember being, like, when it first started, I was like, okay, like, this is, like, a pretty interesting start.
Yeah.
And then it just becomes, like, what it is. I was like, fuck, this sucks. Like,
Uh,
to the point that literally the ending is essentially Sherry Moon versus Richard Brake's character in, like, a, dirt Texas Chainsaw Massacre road.
he
Like,
just really wishes he made Texas Chainsaw
it
Massacre. I
is.
don't blame him because it's great, but
I literally think he, like, he can't get out of that. It's Texas Chainsaw Massacre and I think The Hills Have Eyes aesthetic.
yeah.
Like, those two movies seem to have somehow made the biggest impact on him that he
Hmm.
can't not have that aesthetic in these movies.
Yeah.
And I'm like, just fine. Give him The Hills Have Eyes, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, I already barely like the original one. Like, it's fine. It's like one of the Wes Craven movies where I'm like, I don't know. I don't ever feel like I need to rewatch this.
Yeah.
And then, like, the sequels and remakes are all terrible. So, like, you're not going to harm anybody by letting him make it. I
Yeah.
feel like he would at least make, like, an interesting one. But I don't know.
Oh, I thought of something positive to say about El
Okay.
Superbeasto, finally. Watching this again in the year 2025, it was so refreshing to see Nazis show up on screen and they're unequivocally the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
People are just like, oh, Nazis, what do we do with them? We fucking kill
Yeah.
them. And it's just like, oh, I hate that feels out of step with if you log on to twitter.com.
It's also like they're bumbling idiots.
Yeah.
As opposed to running the American government.
Yeah, it was very refreshing to go back to in time to when we all thought, yeah, Nazis bad.
Oh, what do you think about the music in this movie?
Um,
All of the songs written and performed by Chris Hardwick and his comedy partner.
oh man. I thought the first time they did the thing where the song was sort of narrating what was happening in a stupid way. I'm like, oh, okay, they're doing a joke here, okay. And then it just stayed at that level for the rest of it. It was like, oh, this would have been funnier if it was
A
a
one-time thing.
one-time thing. Yeah.
Yeah, because it would have felt very, like, Hanna-Barbera-ish.
Yeah.
And, like, oh, man, like, just... It's another thing where I'm like, this does not feel like a Rob Zombie choice to me. To have,
Yeah.
like, Chris Hardwick doing these, like, weird comedy songs. This movie's so fucking weird.
Yeah,
And
I wonder if because it was co-written. I wonder if part of the rub in getting it made was, oh, a comedian helped write this and they know comedians.
I I think it's more. I think it's more Rob Zombie because, like I said, like Chris Hardwick is in House of a Thousand Corpses.
Oh, right.
He has like a cameo in Halloween 2. Like him and Chris Hardwick are clearly friends still,
Okay.
and so like I'm just guessing he was like, well, I need comedy songs in this. So like Chris Hardwick already does that. Let's have him do it, and it's just so unfunny.
Yeah.
I this is the only one so far that I believe he did not do an audio commentary for their like DVD release.
Okay.
And I wish he did because I want to hear him justify any choices in this movie.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Like all of the other ones I've listened to, he's talked about like, like this was my original idea, but like the studio or MPAA or like whoever like
Yeah.
made me like edit shit out. And this one, because it was like a straight to DVD thing, I can't imagine anybody was really on his back while making it. And I really want to listen. I want to hear him be like, No, this was all me.
This is all me. This is what I got.
Because I mean, like, what I have to assume is he wrote the original script and then had Tom Papaw like punch it up with
Okay.
like jokes. So
Yeah.
like I think generally the story is probably his idea, but then like mostly the jokes probably came from Tom Papaw, and then like the songs were
Yeah.
Chris Hardwick or whatever. And it's just two people that I genuinely just seem to think are just unfunny in general.
Right.
So like this yeah, not for me, I guess I could say. I'm sure some people like this, but it not me, and it seems like most people forget it exists.
I strangely had it in my head that like I was mildly looking forward to watching this again at first. Like I had it in my head like, oh, okay, yeah, this was fun or something like that. And but then like I said last night I went to watch it and I don't know, there was just some subconscious part of my brain that was just like, don't do it.
Ghost Lori from like 2009 showed up and it was
Just
like
don't do it.
just cancel. Be like, I lost my DVD. Can you find another guest?
The 77-minute runtime did a lot of the heavy lifting
Yeah,
on getting to
that
watch it.
that is a positive because all of the rest of his movies are an hour 40 plus. Like both of his Halloweens, the director's cuts are over 2 hours.
Ugh.
And like at least those movies are like relatively watchable. Like
Right.
I know I think 31 is pretty close to 2 hours, if not 2 hours. I don't know what Three from Hell's like. I don't know. I like that's the thing that sucks is like with this movie I know I'm in the downward spiral of this
Oh
because
no.
I had like the first four. I was like, man, this is actually like this was kind of fun. Like I had a good time rewatching these, and now I know I'm just like, other than Lords of Salem, I know I'm in for fucking hurt.
Sort of in a hell of your own making.
Yeah. Although I did discover there's a Lords of Salem like novel that
That would be interesting
yeah,
because I felt the movie felt, if anything, to me a little underbaked at times.
yeah. So there's like a he wrote a novel, and I found the audiobook for it, which thankfully he does not narrate. So like I think it'll be listenable, but it's like 10 hours, and I'm very interested to see what like his version of like one of his movies will be like as an expanded like world building thing.
Yeah.
And so I think I'm like, I talked to Katie. I was like, I was originally just gonna do the 9 movies, but like, would you want to do like this book with me at the end, and then like I could do sort of like a final take on like his oeuvre
Hmm.
sort of episode. So I think I'm gonna do that because I can fucking knock out a 10-hour book in like a shift at work plus a little
Yeah.
extra. So I'm interested to like see what that's gonna be like, and I'm interested to see Lords of Salem, but I know everything else after that. Like I hated his Monsters movie. It like I don't know if you ever like got around to seeing that,
I
but
didn't see it. I saw a trailer for it and I was a bit stunned and thought like, is this a joke?
yeah, like I think when it was originally announced, I was like, oh, what's like a Rob Zombie Monsters movie gonna be like? And it's just the fucking the Monsters with just worse actors. So like and like I think what my memory was like my biggest thing is like it looks cheap.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. I'm like, wait, this is Rob Zombie, the guy who was given the reins to Halloween once upon a time.
Yeah, and like I remember everyone being, well, you don't understand. It's supposed to look cheap. It's supposed to look like it was made in like the 50s or whatever. And I'm like, no, I don't think that's true. I think they just did not have
And
the
it
money.
it looked cheap in the digital era, which just looked
Yeah,
bad.
yeah,
Like, like the sort of retro, we shot this on 16 millimeter black and white, so we didn't have much money. At least that has some character to it. Cheap video cameras of today just don't look good.
well, it's that, and then it's like my memory is the sets literally look like someone put up like plywood and then just like painted them.
Oy.
Because there's like an entire like tunnel of love scene or whatever in it
Okay.
that like just looks bad, and like every movie has it where there's people that will like justify like whatever's in it as
Yeah.
being an artistic choice, and I don't think it is. It just kind of looks shitty.
Ugh.
So yeah, not good things ahead, but luckily I have maybe like a week and a half of these fucking movies left. I'm
Well,
done.
that's good at least.
And then I'd
That's
never
good.
have to watch them again. Although I will probably watch Devil's Rejects and maybe his Halloweens and so like the Halloweens ones I'll throw on if I'm ever like I'm gonna do like a full fucking series rewatch, but
Right.
I don't know if those will necessarily be in like a yearly rotation.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to point people towards where they can find Queer Horror Cult and all that stuff?
Yeah. You can Queer Horror Cult. It's on most podcast apps and all that shit. You can find us on Instagram just at Queer Horror Cult. I believe all one word. I don't even know my own socials very well. That tells you how well it's going.
Social
Yeah,
media
Queer
is
Horror
bad,
Cult,
so
all one word. Yeah. We're doing monthly episodes right now because that's what works with our schedule. Yeah, and then I'm just a Laurie Alex Film, all one word on Instagram. I post there far more often than I post on Queer Horror Cult,
yeah.
which is still not very often.
What was the one you guys released recently? The Substance?
The latest one we did was on Cuckoo.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Substance was right before that then.
Yeah, we did. We've since coming back, we've done Red Rooms. We're all going to the World's Fair. I saw the TV Glow, Substance, and Cuckoo. So we're trying to sort of get some movies that came out since we stopped doing the podcast for a while.
Right, like a little catch up.
Yeah, sort of catch up. It's like, okay, there's some new things that weren't even out last time we did this, so let's cover some of that.
Oh yeah, go listen to Queer Horror Cult. One of my favorite podcasts.
Oh, thank you for saying so.
Yeah. Thank you for unfortunately watching this shitty movie.
It was like a journey into the past, the fruitful years of 2009 when I just loved the person I was.
Yeah. Everybody's favorite time period, the early 2000s. Yeah, next episode of this is Lords of Salem. Hopefully, I'll have a better time. We'll see.
Yeah. I would be shocked if you saw that and were thinking, oh, why can't I watch El Bisto again?
I'm gonna be oh man, I will quit doing this if that's the case. If I'm ever like, God, I wish I was watching Haunted World of El Superbeasto, I will just stop watching movies.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I'll be like, nope, all I watch now is Friends and The Office.
I've retired from cinema.
Yep, I've retired from good things. It's all Big Bang Theory now. All right, thank you again for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I hope you never watch this movie, but why?